What, you didn't think I was going to make you sit there and watch me dig stone for like 2 hours straight to build something, right? Let's go do something a little more interesting. Well, that's a very unfortunate place for them to put a bunch of redstone. I'm clearly going to blow up with that creeper back there. Oh, but plenty of free quartz here. I was thinking I was going to have to actually go to the nether pretty soon. Well, that's unfortunate. That was a real rough skeleton. Well, I'm not sure what happened to the skeleton. I didn't kill it unless it wandered up there. Oh, that's neat. And redstone, which I haven't even found yet, so that's useful. Yeah, I don't know if this spawner actually went off or not. The light should have stopped it. It does seem to be speeding up, maybe. Yep, that's bad. Oh, that is a lot of armor. Guess we probably should just break it. Now I'm starting to think these things just spawn in here, though. Oh, or there's another spawner right here doing it. Ooh, bunch of pistons. Well, not amazing, but I'll take a looting sword, I guess. And a whole bunch of early gunpowder. That's actually not too bad. A bunch of gold that I didn't have before, as well as a frost one, which I have seen in another chest, but I have no clue how this actually works yet. Well, do I chance blowing that guy up? Well, that obsidian right there seems awfully ominous. Well, that's unfortunate. Doesn't seem to be anything back here, though, so other than a bit of lost quartz. Well, it looks like we can smash it back into nether quartz with an anvil in this pack. Guess we should take some of this home with us, then. Hello, everybody. I am Batman. Because the scarf is actually kind of interesting, although, you know, invisibility doesn't work if you're wearing or holding anything. And I'm not sure how it handles all those tools showing up on my belt as far as being invisible goes, and I don't really feel the need to test it. Plus, I feel like it looks kind of just weird from the front like this. If it actually showed the back with the dropping down scarf in the front, I think it might actually look a bit better. So I think I'm just gonna, you know, hide it and not use it. Anyhow, as you can see, I have been busy doing the thing I didn't want to do, which was making a lawn base right out in front of where I wanted to build because I need a bunch of stone and it was getting too big to build up by that house over there. So I just dumped it out here temporarily for now. But what we have here is a basic create smelter and a basic create cobble gen. Now, it doesn't go very fast, and as you can tell if you watch the input barrel for the conveyor belt right here, you can see that it's actually going down and not keeping up. We're actually smelting the stone too quickly. But this is mostly just so that I don't run out of stone if I'm down doing mining or something, because, well, I beefed up the tunnel bore by a significant amount. I upgraded it to a 7x7. I don't want to do a 9x9, but, well, even with this beast, I'm pretty much out of andesite, and I need to go dig a whole bunch more down here in the mines where I have been, frankly, pretty busy, although I've mostly only been pulling out iron, nickel, and tin, and, well, we're going to need a whole lot of other things like copper and zinc, if absolutely nothing else, in the very near future. But this at least got us started and got me a ton of the stone we're going to need shortly, as well as andesite that I really need to go clear out. But I guess we should go over this smelter setup right now, because there's a reason I didn't cover up and make it pretty, other than the fact that it's a lawn base in the middle of nowhere, and that's so that I could show you how this actually operates. So as before, we start with a water wheel, a large one to generate 512 SU. I think we're only going up to 256 with this many gears, but I can't remember offhand. But same thing as before, big gear to little gear to big gear to little gear, yada yada yada, each one of these doubling it up until it gets to this conveyor belt, which goes out to this shaft right here that powers this gearbox. This gearbox comes around, back, and all the way up to here to power a drill. This drill is just using standard vanilla mechanics to water and lava into cobblestone, where it just breaks it and drops it into that hopper right there under it. The hopper then puts it into this drawer from extended drawers, which then dumps it out with this andesite belt funnel, which is easier to show you what's going on from the other side so I don't set myself on fire trying to lean into the belt. But there is an encased fan sitting behind this lava blowing hot air onto the belt to smelt everything on this belt. Now, the andesite belt funnel can only dump out one block at a time. If we could do the brass ones, we would be able to do whole stacks and we would be able to do filtering. The problem is the brass funnel requires an electron tube, and the electron tube requires polished rose quartz, which, well, up until a couple minutes ago, I couldn't make because you have to make these from redstone and nether quartz, which I just found in that airship. So while it's not sustainable, I could actually upgrade these now, but I found workarounds for all of this, so I don't need to, because you're about to see what I'm going to need, would have needed one for in a second. And down this stone comes this belt to be smelted into stone and hits this andesite belt funnel, which does not filter and leads into this other drawer that takes stone. These also have iron upgrades in them. It's kind of like storage drawers, but I can't actually tell how much this can hold. But because this doesn't take a filter, if this was a normal barrel or a chest, all of this cobblestone would just go straight into this storage right here. But the workaround was obviously put an inventory that can only take one type of item into it, and it works. So this solution won't work for any sort of pack where you're only playing create. You'll need to have either a brass funnel, or you'll have to find some other way to filter your items, or have a long enough belt with a long enough encased fan to smelt the whole thing before it gets to the other end, or you have to slow the belt down. I opted to just cheese it. But what this means is, between the blueberries and all of the stone that I have now, I have no excuses but to get started on the base, because now I can make bluestone. I probably don't have enough to make the full structure I want right now, but I do have enough that I should be able to at least frame it out and start filling it in. I don't know, let's see how far along we can get, huh? So, no half measures here this time, folks. I went big. As you can see, we've got the framework for the base that I'm going to be working in for this series. And it is, that was somewhere over 2,000 blocks, and I lost count part of the way through. And, well, a couple things came up while I was building it. One, hey, I got the replay mod working, and then I didn't actually film a time lapse of this because A, I thought it would be boring, and B, I just thought it would only take me like a half hour to do. This was 3 hours and a pretty bad hand cramp later, so maybe I should have filmed it. 2, one of the rewards I got from the create stuff was the Wand of Symmetry, which basically lets you mirror block placement to do symmetrical buildings. So if you put a block down, it puts another block across from it from whatever you set as the center point. And it would have made building this significantly easier, although the range on it would only cover like, I don't know, half of one side here at most. So it's not that useful at the bottom, but it would have been useful at the top. And I forgot that I had it completely until I was already done. So do as I say, folks, don't do as I do in this case. But I think you get the idea of what sort of thing I'm going to be building here, because this is going to be a pyramid or ziggurat type structure. And inside here, when I finally get this built, these areas directly under the ceilings here like this are going to be the main areas where I'm going to be building all of the machines. So building in this with a wall right around here coming back down to hide all of the machines and cabling, to make my cabling basically completely invisible to the rest of the base, while leaving what will ultimately be a large open area out here to work on, decorate, and put other stuff out in the middle, because as you can see, we are nowhere near the middle and I have to hollow out a large chunk of this hill. We're going to be terraforming and decorating for just absolute ages while we work on this. And to be clear, yeah, I fell to my death, but I only fell once. Probably should have filmed that too, but you know, when you're busy plunging to your death, it's kind of hard to remember to turn on the recording. Yeah. Hope you can forgive me for that one. But as you can see, while I was building this over the several hours it took to build it, I'm up to 4,000 some stone now, nearly 5,000. But let's be clear, it took more than 2,000 to put up just the framework, and that's not going to get me done here anytime soon. So I think this is about what we're going to call it for building this episode. But I do want to show what I'm going to be doing to make building it a bit easier, because in this pack, well, there's building gadgets, but we're not going to have power for quite a while, so these don't help me at all right now. But there is a builder's wand, and it's from the building wands mod, which is not the normal one. And thankfully, making them is still relatively cheap. Stick plate, or stick diamond if I can find some diamonds, which might be kind of a chore. But they do have a couple other things in this mod, like the palette, which I'm hoping lets you do random textures, but I'm not sure, as well as these magic bags, which I don't actually know what these do, nor do I have the hides or the ender pearl to make them. But when I went looking for documentation on that mod, I just wasn't finding much of anything, so I'm not actually sure what those things do. But if I can find enough hides, I might try the pallet because that might actually help me out long term. But if you've never actually seen these building wands before and don't necessarily know what they do, let's go take a quick look. Now, I do want to point out that the building wands do have a bunch of hotkeys associated with them, and while some of these might be useful once I know more what these things do, the important one that we need to take note of right now is this wand menu one with Y. But what you need to do is hit Y, and this will let you pick the modes that this building wand will let you do. And this is not like the building wand in older versions of Minecraft or in Forge versions, because those just work. This one we need to tell it what to do, in which case the big thing we need in this case is to tell it to do row to column and change it to the column orientation in our case. And we can come over here and you can see that it will put down a whole row of the blocks, which will let us fill this in very, very quickly. One of the other things we can do is pick fill and come here and click one corner, which turns it green. And then we can fill all the way up to a matching area. So if I could actually get high enough, we could fill this whole thing in. So as you can see, I should be able to fill this in very, very quickly once I have enough. And no, this is not going to be the actual final look of this base, because just a single monolithic texture is going to look pretty awful, as well as just flat panels here. I have plans for what we're going to do to detail it, but the detailing is going to take just months probably. What I needed is a functional building in the meantime to actually do things in. Also, what are you guys doing here? Bad pillager. Not that I can get to your friends. So I figured maybe we should end this episode back where we started on that cursed airship that killed me and go into one of the things that makes Create so completely absurd. Because here we can just drop a rail, drop the cart assembler, drop a lever, drop a minecart, turn that on, take out the wrench, and just bring that spawner home. So I think I'm going to be making a skeleton farm somewhere in the near future, right? But it doesn't just end there, because there are alternate types of geodes in this pack, and we need to find them because they're involved in this World of Magic sub-chapter that is completely optional. And this actually tells you all about it. There's Spectrum, Wizards, and Spellblades, and you need to progress through it to unlock any of it. It doesn't tell you what any of it does. And one of the first things you have to do is find a normal amethyst geode, a topaz geode, and a citron geode, which is what this one is. And just like the amethyst one, there are budding citrons that you need to be able to get the crystals from. And normally you would have to collect these manually, leaving them in the geode. Except, do you really? When you can just hijack it with another create contraption and take it home and put it wherever you want. So now I just need to go find the other ones. But I can just drop them right here and it already pops out, because unless I flip the lever, this doesn't make the contraption. And then I can right click into the minecart and nearly die. But now I can gather these at my leisure. And more importantly, I could do it with create drills, because from what I understand, they only activate when these are at the max growth for the crystals. So I can completely surround these in a pile of drills somewhere at some point later in the future when I'm ready to actually make a home for all this stuff. I'm not going to start now because I actually don't know how many of these things I actually need. Anyhow, we're going to do the whole sad ard in the rain thing and say good night, though, because this might not look like I did a whole lot there, but I'm tired and it has been a long haul for this episode for me. So if you found this episode interesting and entertaining, please give me a like or subscribe if you're new. As always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.